In this video, I'm going to share what's covered in the Rod and Staff Phonics Workbooks Grade 1, Units 1, 2, and 3. Okay, Unit 1 starts out with short vowel sounds. So that will be a, ah, and Each lesson is 4 pages front. Not 4 pages front, but 4 pages total. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. This type of lesson I was doing with my 5-year-old, and it took us about 30 minutes to do the 4 pages. This whole first unit is all about short vowel sounds, practicing writing them, first identifying them, practicing identifying them, practicing writing them, and saying the sound. It's very important, from what I've read, to include those 3 things all at the same time, where you're going to be, and even in the teacher's manual, instructions you to tell your child to, as they trace, say the sound ah. Okay, but in these types of exercise, they say the picture and they're saying the sound, they're writing the sound, and that's identifying the sound. Okay, so this is how you start off. After you've learned the short vowel sounds, a few consonants are introduced. Simple consonants. S, M, T, those are the easy ones. And then this reading list is started over here on the side. At the end of every lesson, so on the 4th page of every lesson, so this lesson starts with a T sound, it says T, and at the end of every lesson, there's a word list on the edge over here. So you can practice your ladders. It's called ladders when you add a consonant in front of each of the vowels in order. Ta, te, ti, ta, ta. See the A, E, I, O, U in order. And then they mix it up for practice. So when you start a lesson, you're supposed to do some review of the previous work. And in the teacher's manual, it says to get the flashcards with these blend ladders, with these ladders on them. And I don't use the flashcards. I skip that step. I just take the lesson book out, go to the end of the lesson from last time, and we'll review these sounds that we learned. That way we're ready to start the next lesson and build upon that previous concept without having to get flashcards out. They use this slide to start to add a 3rd letter on the end. So you say sa, slide to the t. So it's a continuous motion and it's a continuous sound. So so this is 3-letter words. A consonant is added on the end. The whole alphabet has not been introduced yet. In Unit 2, the alphabet starts to be introduced from the beginning. So each, I think that's right. Okay, here's some review. This is not introducing the alphabet yet. This is something that I wasn't aware of. I'm not a very good speller, but this is spelling helps to remind for you to remember. C comes before vowels A, E, I, A, O, U. K comes before vowels E, I, and that can help you spell. So in the companion to this is the handwriting book, and in the handwriting book, spelling words are given. So you'll tell the child, spell like one of these words that they may have, one of these words was a short vowel sound, one of these types of words that they're reading. And you'll say kiss, and they have to decide which k goes first. They have to know, they're starting to decode these things where I is the second sound they hear, then they have to choose the right k sound to go before it. Okay, I want to get to the part where they start to go through the alphabet in this book. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay, here's F. So they are introducing sounds and starting to make more complicated words. They're all still short vowel words. And they haven't told you the rule of like why there's double consonants at the end of some of these. They're just showing the children that this makes U and K at the end. You don't have to say it twice. Then in Unit 3 is when the long vowels start to come in. And this is when I do not do a whole lesson for a day's work. We split this into 2 days. So we'll do half a lesson the first day and the second half the second day. I did this also with my first child. He did this school book when he was 7, and I'm doing it now with my 5-year-old. Both times, once we got to this point, it just seemed like so much more work to do a whole lesson. And so they just did half a lesson every day. Now he's gotten a good way through this book. Okay, he's about done. And he probably could do a whole lesson in 30 minutes now. He's gotten a lot faster, but I'm not going to add that load onto his workload. Okay, so when it starts off with long vowels, it starts off with adding a silent E. This is the only way that you make a long sound at first. So they'll do a silent E for the long A. They'll do it, except for the E, there's 2 E's together. There's not a silent E on the end for the long E sound. This is the way they teach long E as the first way to make a long E sound. Okay, then there's going to be the silent E all the way through O, where you use a silent E to make the long long U sound. These words on the edge list get harder, and you want to read the edge list from the previous days. You read each edge list 6 times. That's what these circles are for. At the end, when they get to the end of, like the first time they did this lesson, he got to the end of this lesson, read through this list, marked a circle in. Then tomorrow he did another half lesson, but he read this word list and marked another circle. The next day he did the other half of that lesson. He gets a new word list and also reads this word list, 3 circles. So they're constantly stacking up these words lists. So you're reading several word lists at the beginning of his lesson. He's reading 3 or 4 word lists, marking off. He's marking the 6th circle in one of them. He's marking the 5th circle in the next one. He's marking the 4th circle in the next one. And that way they get plenty of review for reading the edge lists. He doesn't actually have 5 lists that he reads in one day because we split each lesson into 2 days. So he only has 3 word edge lists that he reads at the beginning of his lesson because we're only doing half lessons a day. So this is silent. Okay, this is when they start to do long vowels without more than one way. So at first they did long vowels with a silent E added. Then it starts to do long vowels with like 2 vowels together. So when 2 vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. When you see 2 vowels together, the second vowel is silent. The first vowel says its name. These are the 2 ways they show you how to do that for long A. And there'll be long E, and there'll be long I, long O, and long U. After they've done long vowels made by adding 2 vowels together, the next concept is the consonant digraphs. So SH doesn't make SH. SH makes a new sound, completely new. It's sh. Okay, so they'll do SH, TH. TH doesn't say t, ha. It says th or th. The one that threw me for a loop in this curriculum is WH. They teach that WH makes a wh sound, like with a breath with it. I'd never heard that in my life. I looked up some YouTube videos about it. Apparently, it's like an old pronunciation that English used to use. And so I have taught him that WH just says wah. But it does, in your teacher's manual, the child's going to be asked, like right here, does Windows start with a wah or a wah? And they're supposed to look at the picture and know which letter combination to circle, because they're supposed to be hearing a difference. Now, they don't hear a difference. I just told him the answers on these and explained that we no longer say wah, or in our part of the world, we don't say wah with a breath at the beginning. So that didn't really make it hard to do at all. I mean, we just kind of went through that. I explained that we just say wah, and we got right through that. Okay, CH is also a consonant digraph. Then they did a couple special endings in G and in K, and then it's on to O. And then there's a little section about if you have a short vowel, you have to double up consonants like L, double L's, double Z's, double S's, and double L's, and double K. But double K is both K, both letters that make K. It's not the same one twice. So as in S, F, L, and Z, they're all the same one double. If you have a short vowel, you're going to double the ending sound if it says K, S, Z, F, or L. Then we do consonant blends, where each consonant is said, it says the sound it's supposed to, just close together. P, L, and there's a lot of those. And he's getting really quick about it. So I'm very, very pleased with how easy this is becoming for him. It's just one step after the other, very incremental. And that's how Unit 3 finishes up, I think. Also, they start teaching the child how to write the symbols. These are called breves. These are called macrons. This indicates a long vowel sound. This is a short vowel sound. This is pretty basic. Most phonics curriculums that teach how to read using phonics use these symbols. I knew these. I was taught these when I grew up. But in Rod and Staff, they teach you more advanced phonics symbols in second grade. I can do a video about that too. My second grade student is learning like A with 2 dots above it, E with a dot, an upside down E, that's called a schwa. These are things that was totally foreign to me. He's getting a better education than I did, but I'm learning some things too. And since I'm using Rod and Staff, these phonics symbols are very important to get a good foundation, because it builds on it in second grade. It's not just only for first grade. It's like, this is the very basics, and it needs to be a strong foundation because a lot of heavy stuff gets put on top of it. Okay, and another thing that's being taught is, okay, so they have to write the right symbol on these. So they're learning to listen for that short sound and what symbol to write above it when they hear a short sound versus when they hear a long sound. Also, they're learning about, maybe not in this, but in the reading books, they're learning what a sentence is. You have to, so today in the reading book, a question was asked, who opened the window? And this is about the ark. And instead of just writing Noah, like a plain one-letter word, they have to write a sentence. Noah opened the ark. And that's not about phonics. So that sums up what goes on through units 1 through 3 of Rod and Staff first grade phonics.